ethos of our nationhood. The leadership that was shown in 1971 tells us of the time when, despite difference of opinion, despite having many political parties in the opposition, the nation came together. The country came together. We had differences. We have different opinions, different ideologies, different viewpoints. But all of us represent one nation. That sense of pride in our country, in our motherland, really is the feeling that we must harness, we must capture and pass on to the next generation. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister of India. She may have been a Congress Prime Minister, but she showed this country what a leader can do. In our subcontinent, democracy had just taken birth. If you look around us in the 70s, whether it's Bangladesh, Myanmar, China, Pakistan, and to some extent even Sri Lanka, none of the countries in the South Asian continent, in our subcontinent, really had a flourishing democracy. India was the only beacon of hope in this entire region which had a sustainable, robust, alive democracy. We are democratically strong because our institutions are strong. In our neighboring countries, the institutions have been weakened. And today, my friends, we face a challenge. Despite being 74, 75 years of being independent, we are facing challenges where our institutions are being undermined. Institutions are created with decades of sacrifice and dedication. To create those institutions, our founding fathers did everything they could. Democracy was considered not a forte of the Asians. People thought illiterate people, downtrodden people can't participate in a democracy. 1952, when our first election was held, many people in the West were questioning whether India can actually hold elections. Today, I'm happy to tell all of you that Indian general elections are the largest planned human exercise on earth. We take pride in our democracy, we cast our votes, we elect and reject governments, and that's what makes us strong. I'm so glad that the All India Congress Committee has decided to have a year-long celebrations to remember those fallen soldiers, generals, military leaders, and Indira Gandhi ji and her government at that time. Imagine the pressures she must have faced from all the large countries, from the Western countries, from European countries, of not going ahead with supporting the liberation movement. It makes me really proud when I saw that documentary today. My late father was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. In 1971, he was posted in Jorhat in Assam, in Northeast. That was the frontier of the battlefield. At that time, Indian Air Force did not have enough fighter aircrafts. So there's an aircraft called Caribou. It is a transport aircraft. So the Indian Air Force used transport aircrafts to carry missiles and bombs. And I remember as a child, I used to hear stories from my late father about the atmosphere amongst the Jawans and the pilots and the army officers. They were raring to go. In fact, they were fighting with each other. Who will go first? Who will do the first bombing? Who will be in the front line? That sort of emotion really, I think, describes us as a country. To take part in that action, I went to an Air Force school, like somebody, Siddiq was saying. My grandfather was a part of the army. He was not very literate. He was only primary school educated, so he was a non-commissioned officer. He was a Havaldar in the army. My father worked really hard and got himself a commission in the Air Force as a fighter pilot. And all through my growing up years, I also wanted to be a member of the armed forces. Unfortunately, I never got the chance. But I found out that the age bar for entering the territorial army was about 35 or 38, I remember. And I was just close to that. I was 32 or 33. I said, I can't miss this chance because I didn't want to be the black sheep in the family who didn't join the armed forces. So I gave my exam, I gave my interviews, did my medical, I cleared the service selection board in Bangalore, and I joined the territorial army. And I think Siddiq was saying I'm a lieutenant. I got promoted 2 months ago. I'm a captain now. So I'm a captain in the 124 Sikh Battalion, which is posted in New Delhi. to be a part of the fraternity that wears the olive uniform, it's a different feeling. And our armed forces, by the grace of God, are an institution that does not recognize caste and religion and region. In our political discourse today, people are saying, I can recognize you by the clothes you wear. I am proud of the clothes we wear. I am proud that we wear mundus and dhotis and gamchas and skull caps. It's part of our tradition, our composite culture. We are